This video is a quick introduction to Homer's Odyssey. The Odyssey is said to be written by Homer, so I thought I'd give you a few facts or concepts that are believed to be facts about him. Homer is probably the most famous Greek epic poet. Folks think he lived in the 7th or 8th century BC or BCE, and he is also believed to have been blind. And so he is credited with the Odyssey. He's also credited with the Iliad. And the belief was that he would have just recited his poems from memory. Realistically, he probably isn't the only person who contributed to the Odyssey or the Iliad. These poems were spoken for many generations before they were ever written down. So realistically, there are probably lots of authors. Let me give you some key concepts that I expect you to know about the Odyssey. The first one is epic poem. The epic poem is a long poem in praise of a hero whose success determines the survival of his culture or way of life. So if the epic hero dies, all his values die with him. His survival is important not just to him, not just to his family, but to his entire culture or nation. You should also know what an invocation is. An invocation is a prayer for inspiration given at the beginning of the epic. So you might notice in the Odyssey, we begin with an invocation to the muse, where the poet is asking for the strength and the ability to tell Odysseus' great story very well. Epic poems will also begin in medias res, which is Latin for in the middle of things. So the poem won't begin at the chronological beginning. It'll begin kind of at the midpoint and then take a long flashback and then work its way forward from there. So that's where we begin, several years after the Trojan War. The last term I want you to know is epic simile. This is a long, extended comparison that shows the hero's greatness or builds suspense. So a regular simile is very short, like she's as smart as a whip, or he's as sick as a dog. But an epic simile will go on for lines and lines, developing one image. So it's much longer than a regular simile. These concepts are important. I will expect you to know them for our unit exam over the Odyssey, so make sure you're familiar with them. I also think it might be helpful to get an idea of the lay of the land in the first 4 books of the Odyssey. So let me mark Odysseus' route in red, even though we don't see Odysseus in the first 4 books. Here is Ithaca, right here, which is Odysseus' homeland. So when he left for the Trojan War, he sailed from Ithaca and made his way to Troy, right here. Throughout the rest of the epic, we'll track all the other places he goes, or as many of them as we can. Let's take a look at where Telemachus went. So I'll mark Telemachus in blue. Telemachus also begins in Ithaca in book 1, and then he ends up going to Pylos, where Nestor is, and then from there he goes to Sparta. So that's an idea of the journeys that we see characters make in the first 4 books of the Odyssey. I hope this is helpful. Good luck on the quiz.